Welcome to my podcast, Liminal Chat. Today I'm here with my guest, Harry Parnell. Today's topic of the podcast is the back rooms. So I think the first question, it's about the word liminal, right? But the topic is back rooms. So with that, I think to the first question would be, what does the word liminal mean and where does it originate from? Now, to answer my own question, it's Latin, obviously. Most words in English are. And it means threshold, right? Which refers to like the transition between different spaces and all that. So places that it's like a place that's in between two different places. It's like you've got a place here, place there, the thing in the middle, that's liminal. That's what liminal means. Alright, how would you say the concept of liminality is like in real life? What would you say is a real life example of a liminal space?
I suppose dark forests at night, maybe.
They're pretty liminal because they're
very, very scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Go until you're not coming out.
And I would say probably like an abandoned building, or like an abandoned shopping centre, stuff like that. Places that I would say look like they should be populated, but obviously there's no one there at that present time. They're kind of giving that bit of a creepy liminal vibe to it. When would you say, Harry, you saw kind of like the idea or the interest of liminal spaces start to show up on the internet? Like when it started to become like a mainstream thing?
First backrooms video.
Yeah, so that was, do you remember the year?
2018 or 2020?
2020, yeah. I'd say 2020 was when I think people started showing interest in that. But in terms of like more underground, discussions on liminal spaces and stuff like the backrooms was early to mid 2010s. It didn't really kick off until about the 2020. Okay, so now that we've laid some groundwork for liminality, let's talk about the back rooms. So the first question we have is, what are the back rooms and how did it originate? So what do you think they are, Harry?
Well, it's a space where entities go and humans can meet and, I don't know, chase each other or get scared by each other.
So I think from what I've gathered, the backrooms is like a place. It's like the filler space of reality. You can no clip out of reality, just like how you can in a video game.
Yeah.
And then you end up falling into the backrooms, and it's kind of like that one cupboard you just keep a whole bunch of stuff in. It's like kind of what the world just keeps. It's just a whole bunch of random stuff, and there's entities in it, some friendly, some not. It's just a big, basically endless liminal space that exists on like a separate reality to ours, but is linked to both. So that links back to our word liminal. Now, what would you say about the backrooms is unsettling? What makes it unsettling?
I think how realistic they made the no clipping through the world, as if it could just happen at any point.
Yeah.
So you could just go from, I don't know, walking down the hallway to being chased down by a dark, tall man or whatever.
Yeah, it was. It's like you're living in like constant fear of you could just one moment you're here and then the next you're just in the back rooms, and it's kind of that has that eeriness to it. I think another thing that is that kind of like scares me with it a little bit is how you know that there's stuff there, but you also at the same time you feel alone and there's no one there, but there's that sense of uneasiness on how there's just like you can't truly feel at peace in the back rooms because there's always a chance that there's something lurking, something watching you, trying to hurt you or kill you.
Can I ask, what is, from the Backroom series, what is your favourite episode, or what's your favourite entity?
Ooh. So I assume you're on about the Kane Pixels' Backrooms. It would probably have to be the one where I forget the name of it. I think it was called Pitfalls. Yeah, that was it. Where one of the scientists or researchers ended up falling in one of these pit rooms that they had discovered. And when he went down there, it was like a small, like a neighborhood of like empty houses full of like weird things that shouldn't be in the house, like street signs were inside of the houses, and he was going through this underground neighborhood, and then he heard something that sounded like a human calling for, I believe it was calling for help. And when he went to, go find the person that was asking for help, it wasn't actually a person, but it was one of the entities.
Someone's been living down here.
Living down there? That's not possible.
Hey! Can you hear me? I think I got him.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Marvin?
That's not a person.
What is it?
That is not a person!
What? Marvin, talk to me. What do you see? What's going on?
And I think the reason why that interests me is because it links back to a popular theory that the people that fall into the back rooms and get eaten or taken, whatever, because we don't exactly know what happens to them when an entity catches them, that they might actually end up becoming an entity themselves, and that was still like part of their humanity that was showing there. Or maybe it could be something darker where the entities are evolving in a way to trick humans into going towards them and engaging with them.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Why do you think people have such a strong feeling of either nostalgia and or fear towards pictures of like liminal spaces?
I don't know, I guess most of the photos can be linked to a fear of darkness, maybe, because not many of them have any light in them. Nostalgia, I guess, that's just how the photo is edited.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit grainy photo. But, yeah.
I would say the number one thing that it plays on is a lot of these liminal spaces are always pictures of places that would usually be very busy, full of people, like airports or kid birthday parties, indoor playhouses, parks, neighborhoods, and it's just completely devoid of all life.
Yeah.
And again, with that whole nostalgia, like you said, it was how the picture's presented. It's like presented as a VHS grainy picture, which a lot of people had their parents take pictures or record them with VHS cameras. And also because those locations were maybe places that were very similar to places they went as a child, like I said, with the indoor play areas or the park, stuff like that, or neighborhood. So it's like eerily familiar and it's kind of unsettling.
Yeah.
How would you say that the Backrooms explores themes of being trapped between two realities? And how does that like compare to pictures of liminal spaces?
Sorry, repeat the question.
How do the Backrooms explore the themes of being trapped between two realities, and how does this compare to liminal spaces?
I guess with it being trapped between two realities, like you said, with the busyness of some places, just it being purely empty, darkened, and having an entity within it, I guess that can be like difference between two realities because it's abnormal, as is the whole thing.
Yeah, I would say, but yeah, it explores that feeling of being trapped because a lot of things in the back rooms are kind of deceiving in a way. Like you'll have exit signs above doors, but you'll go and open the door and it'll just lead you further into the back rooms, or it'll just be a door to nowhere. Like you just open it and it'll just be just the wall, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like obviously you usually fall into the back rooms. You like bam fall into the wall, and you can't exactly fall upwards, can you? So you can't really escape by going up because there's no way to. And how it is similar to like pictures of liminal spaces is I think the back rooms are based off of liminal spaces, the pictures of them, and also a lot of the liminal spaces, the pictures, even if they're like taken outside, for example, they still feel confined in that area because of it's just the eeriness of it and how it's like unnaturally quiet photo. Like there's no life in the photo whatsoever. And again, it's the same with the back rooms. There isn't much life, and all the life that is there is trying to kill you. So
yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about Kane Pixels' backroom series that he has on YouTube, which is going to be releasing a movie soon as well, I'm pretty sure. So how did Kane Pixels, if you know, make his backroom series?
I think it was. Do you mean like how did he?
Yeah, how did he produce
animate
it? Yeah,
I believe it was through Blender.
Yeah, it was
but
through
I could
Blender.
be wrong, but yeah, I think he just learned Blender really well.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time in it.
Mm-hmm. So I believe it is Blender. I know that later on in some of his projects when he started to gain popularity and obviously got more monetization. That's the word.
Yeah.
He had the money to hire actors and maybe rent out real life places for some of his videos. But I believe about 80-90% of it is all CGI or made on a computer on his own as well. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he has anyone else to help him. So how would you say he's expanded upon the original story of the Backrooms, the original creepypasta?
Well, I know the original was just a bland yellow room with an entity, but as you go further into the series, you get more actual story to it for like the scientists behind it, them actually exploring it, different areas even, so we get Paul at some point.
Yeah, it was he like you said, he made the Backrooms like he kind of changed how the Backrooms was originated. It was made because like a company opened a portal to the Backrooms basically.
Yeah.
And he made up his own company. I think it was called Async, I'm pretty sure, which is all the scientists and all that are researching it. And yeah, he builds upon it himself by creating original characters and making his own original scenes out of the Backrooms that are built upon that image of that yellow office that was originally in the creepypasta.
Yeah, what I'm going to ask is, what part of the whole Backroom series do you believe is the most stretched from reality? So, like, the most least realistic part of it?
Probably. Oh, I don't really. I know it's probably not as interesting as I would hope to, but something that I was always interested by was how electricity works. I don't understand where the electricity for the lights and all of the other electric sources. I don't know where they would get the electricity from. And I do believe that in one of the episodes they did try and figure it out, but I don't think even the scientists could understand why.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you say that found footage style, that VHS style he has for his videos, enhances the liminal horror of the backrooms?
Just like the Blair Witch Project,
Yep.
which also used that same style.
Yeah, exactly.
Adds a horror effect to it. So say if you just had it normal with just a yellow room and an entity chasing you, it wouldn't be as scary. But if you made it maybe a few glitches here and there, be like someone actually rocked up and found that footage.
Yeah, because I think what really adds to it is it's a way of making the audience feel more involved with the video that's happening, because like you said, it feels like it's a piece of footage that you've just stumbled across, right? It's not something that like you can just go down to the library and find something like that. And obviously because it's not recorded on a high end, like thousands of pounds worth of cameras, and it's probably just like a crappy little VHS camera that anyone would buy from God knows where. And the shakiness of the camera as well, because obviously the person's just holding it for handheld. It really adds to that realism and that feeling of it truly being like found footage.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Hey guys. What is this?
How would you say that sound design plays in creating an immersive and unsettling experience in the backrooms?
I think with it actually selling the experiences, they add like different sounds to just one monster, just so it adds a creepy aspect of. So obviously we only have one sound, like our voice, but as the monsters, they've got multiple different sounds they could choose from. Can even maybe copy other people's sounds. It adds like a random effect to it.
I would say a lot of the sound design for the backrooms is a lot of it is based off of ambience, like the humming of the lights or the footsteps of the person filming it. Well, and like you said, the sounds of the monsters there unnatural. It's unsettling hearing, just the sounds of the monster, and also because of the quality of the camera that they're using, the VHS. It's like a low, I think what's the word, bit rate. It's like a low bit rate for a microphone. So when they speak, it's very crackly and very distorted.
What the hell?
How do you think Kane Pixels blends horror and science fiction together with the backrooms? How does he make those two genres go together?
Not really sure. I mean, I don't fully know. I think, in my opinion, it'd be purely horror, but I know some people have different views on what themes it could be. But
so, I'd say that he mixes horror with science fiction by it's like there's a little bit of body horror in the backrooms, because there's like a video of an autopsy of one of the bodies that they found in the backrooms, which I believe was the guy from the first video, the one that is the most popular of his series, the first one. And he was like all covered in like black fungus, and he was like secreting like weird, there's just stuff all over his body, and they couldn't like exactly put their finger on what killed him. They couldn't decide what had killed him.
Yeah.
And obviously the horror elements are, like the entities, that uneasiness, like the chase scene, stuff like that, and just like the creepy drawings and paintings of stuff on the, like, scribbled by probably previous survivors of the back rooms on the walls. So that's the horror part, and the sci-fi part, I would say, is, the whole, I believe it is async. It's either async or desync. I think it's async.
Yeah.
That whole, science team being interested in the back rooms, and, looking at it from a scientific point of view, not like like how the civilians would fall into the back rooms and they'd be like, oh, I have no idea who I am. They are actually aware of it. They're the ones that created it scientifically. And, well, obviously it's a piece of fiction as well. It's not real, or at least I hope it's not real. So,
yeah. What would you change about, if you could change one aspect about the back rooms to enhance it, what would you change?
I feel like Kane Pixels. I'll talk about Kane Pixels and then I'll talk about the back rooms in general. I feel like Kane Pixels needs to experiment more with different levels of the back rooms and different entities, because it's kind of only been just level 0, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, and just that one weird entity. But back rooms in general, I think that sometimes it doesn't explain things for the sake of not explaining things, and in order to explain myself, it was basically saying, oh, it's the back rooms, you shouldn't question it, but I think that something should be questioned and something should be answered, because I feel like sometimes they'll just say something that's like bad writing, but they can just use the excuse of, oh, well, it can just happen because it's in the back rooms, without having to, and they can just use that as an excuse for being a lazy writer or a bad writer. That's what I would change about the back rooms. So beyond the back rooms, can you think of any other type of media? It doesn't necessarily have to be a film or a TV show. It can be anything that's influenced by, like, the idea of liminal spaces, or even influenced by the back rooms themselves.
I think there's a lot of different actual games that have been influenced by the actual style of liminality and being somewhere where you're not meant to be.
Yeah.
For example, Repo.
Yep.
Obviously, you're not meant to be going around places finding different entities, getting chased after them, whilst also trying to steal stuff.
Yeah.
So that shows the what's the word? Abnormality of everything.
Yeah. I would say I'm gonna try and think of a different media front here. I think there's one thing that's come to mind. It wasn't influence, because obviously it was around before the back rooms, but I would say I can think of two things. I would say, like, the TARDIS from Doctor Who, how it's kind of like different. Like it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, and also they do the same in stuff like Harry Potter as well.
Yeah.
With some of the tents, they look really small on the outside, but on the inside it's like big, massive. It's basically like a mansion on the inside.
Yeah.
But I think I'll ask one more question, and that is, what would you say your concluding thoughts are on liminality and the back rooms? What do you think of them?
I think I'm just going to focus on the back rooms here. I think, in conclusion, it's a very strange place. Don't ever want to go there myself personally.
Me neither.
But I think it's strange how just being zipped through the floor to go into a random area is just real strange. Obviously, yeah.
For me, I'd say liminality is always, I think, is an interesting concept. It's unique as well, I'd say. Yeah. It's fascinating because it's confusing and not a lot is explained. I'd say that it's got a very promising future in media if it continues to be adapted and interpreted in a good way, in a how do I say this? Like good movies, good films, good games come from the idea of liminality. I think that is definitely a possibility in the future of the media industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for watching my podcast. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you for having me.
You're very much welcome. Tune in for episode 2 soon. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.